What's going on, everybody? Today, what I want to do is talk a little bit about shadow work. And right now, I'm in my bedroom because my girlfriend's out in the living room working out and kind of whispering because I don't want my downstairs neighbors to hear me because they are sleeping right now, and I could literally hear the guy downstairs snoring. But the reason why I want to talk about shadow work is because today was one of the worst days I've had in a really, really long time. And I mean a really long time. And the crazy thing is that nothing happened. Now, when I say nothing happened, what do I mean by that? What I mean is, as far as the outside world, from the outside looking in, today was a very normal, pretty much good day. And the thing that was happening, though, was just inside me. I found myself getting really, really frustrated, especially like maybe if I would see certain Instagram posts, I found irritation coming up. At one point, out of nowhere, I felt sadness and like I couldn't even identify the reason. I felt like I was low in energy, tired. I felt myself getting annoyed with people. Earlier today, I was at the gym and I just found myself just staring at people and like judging them. And then I came home and I was talking to my girlfriend about it. And like somewhere along the way, the idea of came to me where it was like maybe I should just chill out for tonight and just do some shadow work and get to the root to what is really bothering me. So that's what I literally just did the last hour and a half, where I got my journal right here. I literally got this big ass mirror in the bedroom that I could literally like make eye contact with myself and stare at myself and allow myself to experience what the fuck is going on with me. And for those of you that don't know, what is shadow work? Shadow work is uncovering what's in the unconscious mind that you've repressed, that you've shoved down there. And basically what it is you're going to have a internal dialogue with yourself and get to the root of your problems. And the root of your problems, believe it or not, is it's very, 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 very simple. It's not your childhood. It's not your past. It's not the actual experiences that happen to you. It's the way you've interpreted and the feelings you attach with the interpretation. Now, what I mean by that, all that is bothering you, the only thing that's wrong with you is that you have a certain feeling that consistently comes up throughout the day that you usually repress, that you don't allow yourself to actually experience it. What do I mean by this? Like for me, one of the feelings that I used to really, really repress is anxiety, fear. And what I used to do is I used to like decorate my personality because I used to suffer really, really bad, at least I thought, from social anxiety. I was really, really shy. And another thing I had anxiety about was money, lack of money. I was always, always worried about money. I worked 7 days a week for maybe 5 years straight because I was always concerned about lack of money. Now, that could be because of my childhood, because, my dad did have a big crash in 2008, like during the economic recession where he lost everything. And I was there for that. And I got to see him worry about money. And I got to see him avoid phone calls from bill collectors when they would call. Like he would literally check at the time, it was like caller ID. And he would see it would be a bill collector and he would just leave it alone and he'd just walk away. And I got to experience that at the time. I was actually a little older. I was like 17, 18, but I got to experience that he always had a fear for money. And because he had a fear of money, I kind of associated with that feeling of always having a lack, always being afraid. And the same thing happened to me with being social. Me growing up as an Asian American. Now I'm 35 years old, right? Being Asian in America now is kind of normal. You see Asians everywhere. There's a lot of Asian Americans everywhere. But when I was growing up as a child, I was always the only Asian American in the class. What do I mean by that? Like, meaning I spoke English and I didn't speak no Chinese. It's not something that I learned growing up because I was completely Americanized, but because I was the only Asian American everywhere I went. I did feel awkward socially because people did have a certain judgment of me that I allow to be passed on to me, to where I started to feel a certain way about talking to people. And like I said, being Asian, I was Asian American, but there was other Asians, meaning when I say other Asians, they were like true Asians, like they only spoke Chinese. So they had their own little classes. And I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. So they had their own little classes to where they would just be together, but I wasn't with them. I was with the Americans. And being the only Asian American in my group, I was always felt weird socially. But anyways, what I did do as I got older is I learned how to, when I hit my 20s, I learned how to decorate my personality and put on a character, put on a persona. I read a bunch of books on like socializing, talking to girls, body language, and sales influence, and I knew how to be a character. But the anxiety was always there, but I knew how to use techniques to override it, as opposed to actually going to the source, which was the feeling, which was how I actually felt about myself or the situation. If I just got to the root and actually removed it and released it, I would naturally not have to put on the persona. I could just speak regularly. And it wasn't until 2020, when we got forced into that lockdown, that I actually discovered shadow work. Because what happened was, when I was in lockdown, oh, my girlfriend's thing just fell. When I was in lockdown, I was in the house all by myself. My girlfriend was at work, and I was literally having a panic attack. And during this time, I was collecting unemployment, which was ridiculous. It was like, for me at the time, it was like $4,600 a month. And my bills at the time was only like $2,500 a month. So money was good. And I thought it would be great because I didn't have to really talk to nobody no more. I didn't have to be social. I didn't have to put on this character. But it wasn't until I was stuck in the house all by myself and this fucking anxiety started to come up and I'm having a panic attack, that I really started to discover that, like, dude, stop resisting what you're feeling. Stop suppressing it. Stop shoving it down there. And it was kind of like a accident because I had never heard of shadow work before. All I knew was how to decorate the outside and make everything on the outside look good, and how to manipulate people and manipulate situations and put it on the front and fake it till you make it, because I was really into Tony Robbins and the self-development and all of that stuff. I was so fucking good at it. I was so good at putting on a character, but it was really, really hard. Every day there was like a knot in my stomach, like, oh, I gotta perform. I gotta put on this persona. But, once I sat with it and actually did shadow work, I didn't know that's what it was called at the time. And I stopped resisting the feeling and I got to experience it fully, which sucks. It's like the worst thing in the world to actually experience your feelings. There's a saying that pain is the pathway to freedom. Like, if you want to really, really release pain, you have to dive into it. And that day I dived into it. I just sat with it. I didn't distract myself from it. I didn't put on a motivational YouTube video. I didn't try to call somebody on the phone and talk to them. I didn't do any of that. I just sat with it. And then that's when I started discovering that, oh, all of my problems is just a feeling inside of the body, that, and if I just sit with it and allow myself to experience it fully, going into the shadow, going into the unconscious, going to the root. If I sit with it long enough, which sucks, I could eventually allow it to flow and it will be released. So to me, shadow work, all it really, really is going into the unconscious, seeing what's down there, seeing what's bothering you. And the only thing that's really, 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 really bothering you is a feeling. It's not the memory. It's not the experience itself. It's how you perceive it, how you look at it, and then the feeling that it creates, the feeling that you associate with it. So if you actually learn to just sit with the feeling and release the feeling fully, because right now we're all blocked. We're all stuffed. There's shit just down there. And because I haven't done this work and I try to do this work monthly, but because I haven't really been focusing on it. I've been more so focusing on making myself feel good, doing the right thing, having a positive attitude, positive affirmations. I Because I wasn't doing this work as much as I would like, today was a fucking awful day. It was a bad day. So I decided, I was like, yo, you need to sit down and you need to think about your life, experience what it is that's bothering you. And what I started to do was I used certain shadow questions to experience certain feelings and emotions that usually I don't want to experience. These are things that I want to resist. These feelings are such as like shame, guilt, apathy, grief, anxiety and fear, anger, even things like desire or pride could be a bad feeling, because desire is usually like there's a tension behind it. Like I really want it. Like me, I want to be really, really successful. I want to be able to have my own online business, sell my own online courses, and there's tension around it. Like I want it now. And because I want it now, I'm creating so much tension in my body, and I'm becoming very, very impatient, that if I don't learn to just sit with it and allow it to pass and relax into the feeling, I'm going to always feel this way, even if I get what I want. Because what happens is when you end up getting what you want, now there's still tension around it because now you fear losing it. So, what this shadow work is basically get into the root, which is just basically a feeling. So, what I asked myself, what I did was, I had my journal here where I started writing things that were bothering me. And then I was like, all right, what feelings are associated with this? So, what am I ashamed about? So you gotta, if you really, really want to do shadow work, you have to ask yourself these questions. What am I ashamed about? How come I'm ashamed? What do I feel guilty about? What do I feel hopeless about? What am I sad about? What am I angry about? What is it that I want right now? What is it that I crave but I don't have it? What do I feel pride about? Meaning you're so prideful about something that if it's attacked, if somebody even says anything about it, you feel protective of it and you create this tension. And then when you ask yourself these questions, you'll realize it creates a sensation in the body. So for me, a lot of the sensations, when I ask myself these questions and things pop up, it creates a sensation. So a memory might pop up of what I'm ashamed about, what I'm guilty about, what I'm sad about. But after the memory pops up, there's a sensation that's created in the body that sucks. And for me, a lot of times it's in my neck. I hold so much tension in my neck, in my throat, because as a child, I was very, very introverted, very scared to talk to people. Again, because I was Asian American, I felt like nobody wanted to talk to me, which, by the way, wasn't true. But my perception was people didn't want to talk to Asians. Girls don't want to date Asians. Asians get made fun of. Yeah, and even, with my family, because I'm also mixed. My dad is Italian and Irish. There was times when my cousins on my white side would make fun of me for being Asian. And it would like tense me up and it would make me feel unworthy. So what happens is when you ask yourself these questions, what are you ashamed of? Are you not good enough? All of these questions, all of these shadowy questions, and you could just Google them. What are some shadow work questions that you could ask yourself? The key here is when you ask yourself and the memory pops up or a thought pops up, it's going to create a sensation in your body. Like right now, if I ask you, what are you afraid of? What do you fear? A thought might pop up, but once the thought pops up of what you're actually afraid of, it's creating a sensation in the body. And this is where the work takes place. It's in the body. This is why I started this page called Stretch and Grow, because I started doing these stretches to really open up certain tension in the body, because I realized the body is what stores the emotions that are holding us back in life. So what you got to do is you ask yourself these questions. What's bothering me? Whatever pops up, then say, how do you know? How do I know that's bothering me when this memory comes up? Usually, I feel something in the body. My jaw clenches, my face clenches, my neck clenches, my fist clenches, my throat gets tight, my stomach feels funny. And what you got to do from there is start practicing the letting go technique, which is the work of David Hawkins and Michael Singer. So David Hawkins wrote the book Letting Go, The Pathway to Surrender, which I suggest you get. And Michael Singer wrote the book The Untethered Soul. But you could literally just YouTube Michael Singer, Michael Singer, Michael Singer, Singer. YouTube him, and he has so much work on YouTube. And listen to him talk about letting go and release work, and how to actually experience life. And what you got to do is you got to sit with these feelings when they come up. And mind you, these feelings are stuffed in our bodies. We're all blocked for the most part. If you live in Western society, we're all blocked. We got shit that's down there that comes up consistently. And if you don't do this work, it comes up in weird ways. You know, for a lot of us, it comes up during road rage. Like we're driving and all of these fucking suppressed feelings come up that we resist. So what you got to learn how to do is stop resisting these feelings and start experiencing these feelings. And how do you experience them? You have to sit with them, and it happens in the body, and it sucks. And you got to practice the letting go technique. So the letting go technique, I've described in previous videos, which is become aware of it, right? Become aware of the feeling and the sensation that it's creating in the body. So for instance, if you get angry, right? Oh, I'm angry. How do I know? Oh, my jaw gets tight. I clench. Become aware of it. The next step after awareness is to accept that it's there. Allow it to be there. Because a lot of times we feel something, we try to push it away. We try to do something about it. We try to fight with it. We try to express it. We run away from it. We distract ourselves. We do all of these things. What you got to do is accept it. So first is awareness, then accept that it's there. Once you accept it, allow it to be there, it's going to get worse. This is the key here. It's going to get worse. And what you got to do is allow it to be there. Allow it to keep coming up. These are things we've resisted in the past. Now, once you allow it to come up and you accept that it's there, after a while, after it's sitting there and it sucks and it hurts and it's painful, if you watch it long enough and you relax into it. Now, when I say relax into it, that doesn't mean the feeling itself is going to relax, but you could relax, because all you are is the watcher. You're the person that's watching this feeling. You're the consciousness watching it. You're the witness. So you witness the feeling, you experience the feeling. From there, what it's going to start to do, it's going to start to flow. Now, that anger might transform into sadness, might transform into fear, and it actually might move along the body. So maybe you might start feeling fear in your heart, or it just might be more anger, whatever it is, or it might start moving in a certain way. You allow that shit to flow. Now, if it flows into a new emotion, you go back to step one, become aware of it, accept it. And then when you accept it, it's going to come up more. And then from there, you allow that to flow. And then over time, if you continuously do this and you watch it, the last and final step is you're going to release it. How do you release it? If you watch it long enough, if you pay attention to it, it's going to release all on its own. Now, for some people, they cry. For some people, they shake. I was a massage therapist for 5 years. I worked with people for a long time. And this, when they would really go into a release, a trauma release, their body would literally start to shake as if they were having, like, if you think of it metaphorically, like an orgasm. Think of an orgasm. An orgasm, when you release, you shake. And there's a lot of techniques out there on YouTube where trauma release, where it's like they actually teach you to voluntarily shake and practice shaking to shake that shit off. You know, because what they say is, if you ever watch animals, if you ever watch like a deer get chased by a lion, and the lion grabs the deer, but then the deer somehow gets away. If you watch the deer closely, after it gets away from the lion, it just shakes it out. And basically, what they say that it's doing is it's shaking off that trauma. And if you have a dog too, you've probably seen your dog shake shit off. And the idea is, us as humans, we have that too, that capacity too, because we're conscious and we feel like it looks stupid. And because it's awkward, we resist it. So when that shaking sensation comes up, we want to try to suppress it, try to control it. What you got to learn how to do is just let it go, allow it to happen, experience it. Just like an orgasm. If you want to have a real good orgasm, just allow it, allow yourself to experience it, and just let it go. So that's basically what I did today. And I journaled some stuff, and I had my mirror right here, and I'm looking at myself, and my eyes started to get a little watery. I didn't actually cry, but I could feel my body tensing up. And when I started to get angry about certain things, I allowed myself to experience the anger fully. And then also what I did was I exaggerated it. So like as I started to like tense up, and I started to consciously choose to do it even more and just like make these fucking angry ass faces. And then when I got sad, I would exaggerate the sadness, or if I got anxious, I would exaggerate the anxiety and really really experience it. And now I could honestly say, and you could probably hear it in my throat, like my throat dried up and everything, but I could honestly say right now I feel a lot better. I feel lighter. I feel more open. And I just wanted to get on here and make a video because I suggest, if you're watching this video, if you actually made it this far, do this fucking work. YouTube shadow work. Find out what the fuck's holding you back. Find out why you aren't happy. Find out why you aren't okay. Find out why you feel like you're not enough. And if you get to the root basically all it is a feeling and sensation that we're afraid to actually experience. And if you allow yourself to experience the sensation and practice this at least on a monthly basis, doing some deep fucking work, and even have that transfer to your day-to-day life, like when anger does come up, just allow yourself to experience it. Doesn't mean you have to express it, but allow yourself to experience it fully. You're more likely to let it go, and it won't actually bother you later on. So I really, really suggest you do this work. Give it a try. Let me know what you think. Until next time, peace.